you ready to ask God for forgiveness?
I couldn't let you leave. God didn't love you yet.
Hello, everyone. My very special guest today is director Chris Moore. He has 3 films. I've seen 2 of them, but one of the films that I've seen is called Children of Sin, and the second film that I have yet to review is When the Trash Man Knocks. He also has a movie, Blessed Are the Children, 2016, and A Stranger Among the Living in 2019. Christopher, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, I actually stumbled across you. I actually seen the Trash Man trailer maybe like 4 months ago, so I was full aware of that one. And the trailer was made is enticing, and it has an '80s vibe. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
and when I get a sense of an '80s vibe, it wasn't made in the '80s, but the way you made it with the character and all, it really drew me in. So I'm a child of the '80s. Well, I was born in the '60s, but I grew up in the '80s. I love '80s horror. I love anything '80s, the music, and I'm babbling. But when I see a trailer, which I don't really watch trailers too much, I really don't, because sometimes it spoils the movies. Depends on who you put in it. But when I saw yours, I'm thinking, damn. It has like a Halloween feel, late '70s, but also has the '80s feel. Of course, it ain't the same kind of character, but fucking brilliance. We'll get into that. So, Chris, I know I've been babbling, but we'll get through this. Do you want to talk to the listeners and tell them how you got started, and talk about your first film, and then we'll get into the other ones when we get there.
Oh boy. Well, I started, I guess, when I was middle school-ish. I think it sort of started. My mom had a camcorder, and my friends and I were at the house just kind of goofing around. And this was right around the time I think Scream was out, and we had a Ghostface costume with a big fake plastic knife, and we were recording ourselves chasing each other, and all of a sudden I thought, this is really fun. We should try to make a movie. And so in 5th grade, we sort of started trying to do it, and it didn't quite work out. It was we filmed all the time, but it just never quite really became much of anything. And then I kept going. And in high school, I tried to make a few movies, and then I went off to film school and graduated and thought, okay, it seems like I kind of want to do this. So my first sort of legitimate film was Blessed Are the Children, which was 2016.
Let's talk about it.
It was I wanted to make something that was very sort of down home and had a kind of a sort of a classic style. It's got a kind of a 70s kind of a vibe. And it was about these 3 best friends, and one of them gets an abortion, and she is stalked by all these crazy sort of very extreme anti-abortion people in these creepy baby masks, and that was really, really fun to do. It was an interesting time politically. A lot of crazy stuff going on, a lot of crazy people coming out of the woodwork and trying to give people trouble. So it just kind of seemed like the right time to do something like that. I had kind of gotten the idea when I was in Catholic school, because they were very kind of, pro-life there. And I didn't really know what abortion was until I went to Catholic school starting in 7th grade. And I kind of got this idea of like, well, what if some of these people just took it a little bit too far? And so that had been kind of stirring in my brain for a while. And I thought, well, this is a okay idea to kind of make a first film with, because it could be done locally with just kind of some people that I knew through the sort of community theater scene, and not that many locations, and and it was a really fun experience. And then that came out. It got a few good reviews, a few really terrible ones, and
Of
I
course.
thought, hey, at least it got a few good ones, so we must be
Well,
doing
you know what?
something right.
I'm not going to cut you off. I don't mean to, but even the bad reviews help you as well, because people
yeah.
want to watch it and say, "Oh, this guy's full of shit."
Right.
And I'll just be blunt and honest with you. A lot of people who don't understand independent film, or they have an agenda, maybe somebody or somebody has a movie at the same time as you, whatever, and it's a lot of it is childish. I mean, I'm not saying all the bad reviews are childish, but a lot of them are people who are too lazy to make their own movie or whatever, or want to, and it's too much. And a lot of it comes down to just you really have to dissect a movie that's your movie being criticized by somebody. You really have to dissect their background, because everyone has an agenda. If they're jealous of Chris Moore, I'm just saying in general, it happens. I mean, bad reviews are just as good reviews. I know bad reviews can make you feel like, maybe I'm not good at this, or you get the good ones, and and you figure, well, are they just saying it's good because they want to? I mean, trust me, I've been in this business for 15 years, and you just got to shrug it off and move forward. I've never seen this movie. Is this movie available anywhere to get?
I think the last time I checked, it was on Freevee. I think.
Really?
My first two, I don't really. I gave them to a distributor, and so they're kind of out of my horizon at the moment. So I think.
Right.
I think the last time I checked, it was on Freevee, though. It used to be on Tubi, but then it was off for some reason. But I think it's still on Freevee.
I have Freevee. I'm gonna check it out because I want to see this, because I love movies about kids, babies, creepy stuff like that, because it gets especially if it's about abortion. I mean, it's going to be. I'm anxious to see that one.
Yeah, it was really fun to make, and we had a great time, and it got enough good reviews that I thought, okay, well, I guess we're doing something here that is semi worthwhile. So then I just kind of kept on going, and that's been the case. I mean, it's like you said, everything's going to get good reviews and bad reviews. It doesn't really matter if you're indie or you have 50 million for your budget. It happens because it's personal taste, and some people are going to love it and some are going to hate it, and so you can't really let that get you down, or else you'll never make anything. I mean, you'll just be paralyzed with fear. You'll just
because I can remember a movie that I reviewed quite a few years ago, and they were like saying to me, like, I don't know what I'm talking about. Then I went in their background and looked at, they like that glitter vampire stuff. I said, that explains a lot. It's quite different than a horror movie from a glitter vampire movie. So you really have to judge. You really have to look at the person who's reviewing it. I mean, for a fact that they don't like that kind of movie. So why do they even bother watching it? That's my
right. Yeah, I mean, and I'm not gonna lie. There have been times when we've gotten a really terrible one, and I thought, my God, this is just vicious. And so you click on their profile and you see, they also left a terrible review for that movie that I really liked. Oh, and that one too. They hated that. Oh my God. Yes. Well, of course they're not going to like our movie. It wasn't meant to be. It wasn't really made for this kind of a person. So you just kind of have to throw your hands up and say, oh, well, it wasn't for them.
Or two words. Fuck you. That's my philosophy.
You can do that too.
Because it doesn't really matter. I mean, as long as you are comfortable and like what you do, and people enjoy it, that's all you worry about. There's so many freaking Howard Stern reviewers out there now. It's ridiculous. Their main goal is to pick apart every movie they watch because they're too much of a coward to make their own. I've said it for 14, 15 years, and I'll keep saying it. I'm in the business too, as you know, and I've seen behind the scenes. I know what's like how a movie's being made, how much work it is, how much stress, it's a lot of work. To get a movie made and get it put out there is a compliment itself.
Oh, it's anyone who has ever made a film to completion, and especially someone who's gotten it out there in front of people's eyes, they're a superhero in my mind. I don't care if the movie's a movie that I enjoy or a movie that I absolutely despise. The fact that it was made, I think, is a miracle. Every movie.
Wow. You know what? This next movie I want to see as well, and I could not find it. I went searching for it. Is Triggered in 2019.
Oh yeah, that one I think that's streaming. Where is that streaming? Is it?
It's not on Tubi. I couldn't find it on Tubi.
Yeah, it used to be. It's another one that was on Tubi for a while, and for some reason it's off. I don't know if the distributor had a bad deal with them or something. I really have no idea. These two movies are kind of out of my control. The way they were marketed and everything, and so
how many years?
Oh God, I can't even remember. I think it was like 8 years.
Yeah,
8-year contract or something. So, but I think someone told me that was streaming. It was on like either Roku or Vudu or something. I don't know. One of those.
Let me do a quick search real quick. Hold on.
Okay. Yeah, I just can't remember where it was, but it was on Tubi for a while. I think you can still buy it or rent it on Amazon, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just kind of one of those movies that kind of got out of my control, so I don't really know what it's doing at the moment.
It's on Amazon Prime Video.
Okay, good.
I'll check it out there. Excellent. So what's your experience on this one?
Yeah, to be very honest, I had a really bad time on that film. It's not a movie that I have very good memories of making. I think I bit off way more than I could chew. It was the one time I've used SAG, and it was very difficult. It was a lot of paperwork and
a lot of rules,
a lot of stuff. And I was handling it all myself, which is enough to drive anyone insane. But when you're doing that on top of directing and everything else, it was just a lot to deal with. It was like a 13-day shoot for a 120-page script with like 50,000 locations and actors and costumes, and it was a big production. And we even had to go back in and do some reshoots, about a week of them, a few months after that, and that was a little more relaxed. I remember having somewhat of a good time on the reshoots. I think because we knew exactly what we didn't get the first time, and so it was just kind of more controlled and relaxed. But yeah, I mean, it's just, and the movie didn't turn out the way that I had hoped. I think there's some good parts. There's some great performances. A few good jokes. It was kind of a dark comedy, like a sort of a Heathers-esque kind of teen comedy, and it some parts land, and I think a lot of it, the pacing's kind of weird, and so I don't know. But it's not one of my favorites that I've done, but yet every now and then someone comes up and says, of all the films that you've done, that's my favorite. So hey, I guess it worked for some.
Yeah. Now Amanda Wiss I met. And she was cool.
Oh, she's
how was she on set?
Oh, she was wonderful. Just a total pro, and a lot of it, a lot of my experience on that film, I think, is colored by that, because I felt like she was walking in and was like, "What the hell am I doing here? This movie is so chintzy and low budget," and like, because I remember like the first night we had someone as a boom op. And then the next 2 days that she worked, I had to do all the boom opping myself while directing and producing. And I'm sure she just thought, this is so ridiculous. Like, what a pathetic set. Like, because, I mean, she's used to like doing a lot of TV work where, there's 3,000 people on the crew. Yeah. And this was just very much a kind of like down home sort of bootleg kind of operation. I'm sure the whole time she was just like, what am I doing here? What went wrong? But she was just lovely. Just, brilliant actress, wonderful person. I was thrilled to have her.
She's great.
And, she was wonderful. I'd love to work with her again on a slightly smaller project where I kind of know what I'm doing a little bit more.
Right. Well, when I met her, Meg Foster was beside her at the table.
Oh, I love Meg too.
So do I. And I woke up to Meg. I said, "Man, nothing like the '80s," and that just started a love fest.
Mm.
She had me sit down beside her. We're just talking about the '80s, hugging me and kissing me, and then Amanda comes over and sits beside me and does the same thing. I said, "Oh my
Oh,
god,
wow.
it's a great experience." I love those two.
Oh,
Amanda
they're
was great.
sweet. They're wonderful. I'd love to work with Meg too. Oh, she's such a sweetheart.
Oh, I love Meg. I love them both. I mean, I was really so. When you see them in the '80s growing up, Meg was actually from Reading. That's where she was born, and that's like maybe half an hour from where I live now in Pennsylvania. But when I met her, I mean, she is a down to earth, loving person.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, she connected to me like she knew me for 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I literally sat there with her while she's signing autographs and stuff, and I'm just handing the money to put in her box for her. That's how close we got. It was a really great time.
Oh, that's so cool.
It is. Now, the next movie I have it, but I have to watch it, is A Stranger Among the Living in 2019.
Mm-hmm.
It's about a young teacher finds himself haunted by the undead after narrowly escaping a school shooting. And I think you hit the nerve with the school shootings because it's very popular and it should not be. It's horrible. Yeah. But I will be checking this out probably tonight. I'm going to give it a watch because I'm going to do all three movies and review them and then space them apart and release them. But your experiences with this one?
This one was a very relaxed shoot. I think after Triggered, I intentionally wanted to do something that was a little more lo-fi and kind of just sort of calm. And this was just a very kind of quiet sort of ghost story, which I hadn't really done up to that point. Both Blessed and Triggered were both kind of about, crazy people with knives and things. And this was much more just kind of this Twilight Zone sort of Carnival of Souls-esque sort of ghost story. And
nice.
And there are parts of it. I think the atmosphere is great. I think we really succeeded there, and there's some great performances. And it actually has, I think, one of my favorite scenes that I've shot of all the films that I've done is about smack dab in the middle of the movie. It's a scene between the main character and his mother, and these two actors are just so spectacular. It's a wonderful scene. It's just phenomenal. I really think it's some of the best stuff that I've written or directed. But I think it's got some pacing problems, and I knew that. It was kind of designed to feel kind of like a nightmare, so things don't always really make sense in the sort of logical sense, which was it was intentional. But I started realizing, the main character, the way a lot of us are when we're dreaming, is very sort of passive and inactive, and that can work for a little while on film, but eventually you kind of want them to do something. So
yeah.
That character, as great as the actor was, Jake, who played this character, there was only so much he could do because I didn't really write him a character that was very nuanced and interesting, because this character is just kind of like wandering through life aimlessly, not really wanting to make any choices, not wanting to really take a risk. I mean, and that was the whole point of the film, is that he's so paralyzed that he can't even really step up and say, hey, there's this creepy kid who might be a school shooter. Let's, do something to stop him. And then he doesn't, and the rest of the film plays out, and he kind of pays the price for that.
I'm definitely going to watch this tonight. It sounds very interesting.
I hope you enjoy it. Just remember, it's kind of a dreamlike, sort of a slow burn kind of a movie.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about me because I've been doing this for 15 years. I've seen all types. I've seen no budget thing, so you're fine. Now, you played Jarvis Coker?
Yes, I did.
What exactly was your part as far as, I mean, you don't get too much away, but what was your part in the movie?
Jarvis was a character that the lead character of Henry meets at a kind of a grief support group, and he's this very sort of larger than life kind of colorful character who is going through his own stuff, but kind of dealing with it in a seemingly different way than Henry is. And they kind of become friends and connect, and Jarvis gets kind of sucked into this sort of nightmare. And yeah, I think he was a really fun character to play because he was so full of life and kind of spunky. And the characters I played in the last two films are kind of more on the depressive side. So it was a lot more fun to play someone who's kind of, you know, spicy and exciting as opposed to, you know, just kind of depressed the whole the whole time.
Well, I'll tell you what, the next movie, you played a character of Hank. And I don't want to say too much because I want you to hear my review of how I feel about it. I mean, I want the suspense, you know? But I'll tell you this. Children of Sin in 2022. I saw it on Tubi for quite a while. But I get so many movies to try and catch up on, even the ones that are sent to me, whatever. Occasionally I'll go on Tubi and I'll do some searches and I'll find some things that, that, trust me, I've put a couple on and I turn them off. I said, nope, not for me. I mean, if I don't like them, I just don't watch them. But this movie here really had me hooked.
Oh, good.
By saying that is, I've been in this business, like I said, for 15 years, and I've seen all types of films. And I really love films that I know that does not have a humongous budget. It does not need to have a humongous budget. But when you have the talent and the story and something different, I'm all about it. It's going to be hard for me not to give away everything, so I'm going to try and shut up before I ruin it, because I'm going to give my review on it. But your character of Hank, how do I say? Okay, let me give the listeners an idea what it's about. Each character that's in this house, run by a church. We have one that's gay, maybe two. It didn't really get into too much detail. We'll talk about that. Because the one character I think was gay too, right? It was Andrew.
Oh,
maybe.
Yeah. There's a few gay characters, and yeah.
And I think that aspect of the movie really brought this movie out more, because I'm a big fan of horror movies that are bringing some gay people in, homosexuals or whatever. You don't see it. And when you see them in horror movies, the storyline intrigues me because I like how the writer and the director, how they pulled this off. And how you pulled this movie off was phenomenal, because there's you, I'll say this, there's you, Hank, telling this other kid that's, he was sent there because he was caught watching porn. His parents didn't like it, whatever. And you're telling him, oh, yeah, I was gay too, but I got over it. I mean, this church helped me. And there you are staring at the guy. Fucking brilliance, Hank.
Oh, wow.
I'll say no more than that, because I won't do my review on it. But your character, just your presence alone in this movie, you wanted a different life. And your aunt is a fucking psycho.
Oh, boy, yeah.
She was a borderline psycho in the next movie, too, to a point. But we'll get into that. I'm very proud of you, of this film. I really am. There's a lot of movies on YouTube that aren't worth a shit to watch. There's a bunch of them. There's one filmmaker I don't watch because they make movies like every year, and they're designed for people who, I don't know. It's just, I'm not picky, but certain movies I cannot watch if it's whatever. But with your film, I love this film. I'll say no more than that.
Oh,
shut up. I'll do my review. You'll hear it. But Hank, your experiences with this one, being the director and having pretty much a main character of Hank in the movie, and what was it like for you in this one? I mean, compared to the first two that you did, I've noticed that I haven't seen the other two, but I can tell by your personality and the way you express yourself by being mentioned in this movie is something that you're very proud of.
Oh yeah, this is a film. It's my personal favorite so far of all the films that I've done. it was another idea that kind of came out of middle school and high school, when I started to hear about these conversion camps and what they would do. And I always thought, well, this is a great idea for a horror film. And for years, I was trying to figure out how to make it work. And there was one point where it was going to be kind of like a sort of a Stepford Wives, Get Out kind of a thing, where, you know, they were going to go there and they were going to be brainwashed, and, you know, and that would have been one way to go, and I think it could have worked. But then it was during the pandemic, and I was just dying to be creative and come up with another script, and I revisited this idea, and for whatever reason, it just sort of turned into this sort of strange kind of dark fairy tale-esque kind of story. And yeah, the role of Hank, I was not supposed to play. That role was originally written for someone probably in their 50s or 60s. It was going to be Hank and Mary Esther were a married couple that were going to run this. Okay. And what ended up happening was I auditioned a few guys for this part, and they were great. And I said, okay, well, here's the script. We start on this particular date. They read the full script and they backed out one by one. I just had to keep going down the list. And it was all for basically one specific scene, which is the sin stick scene. If you've seen the film, it's yes. You know, it's a very interesting scene. And I guess maybe the way I had written the scene seemed more explicit than it turned out in the film, because if you see the film, it's I think fairly tastefully done. You don't see a lot. But I guess they just thought that the subject matter was not something they wanted to be a part of. I wanted to play the televangelist that's on the TV. Okay. That was the part I was going to do, because I thought that's going to be easy. It'll be fun. I'll shoot my stuff in a day, and I'll be done. But then once I couldn't cast that part, I stepped into that part and kind of changed some stuff around to make it to make Mary Esther his aunt, and we really didn't have to change that much. And I think I only worked as an actor for maybe 3 days on the film, so it wasn't too much of a commitment. But just the whole atmosphere on that set, the cast was spectacular. We had so much fun. It really felt like summer camp. It felt like we had all every day we would meet at this sort of secluded location, and we would have so much fun, and we got so much done, and everyone was having such a great time. And I just remember feeling like this feels like when I would make movies with my friends in middle school, just over the summer, you know, on the weekends. That's what it felt like. There was no feeling of like, oh, is anyone going to see this movie? Is anyone going to like it? Is anyone going to care? It was just, we were making it because we liked the story. We were having fun. And so whenever I see a clip, I smile, because I remember what we all went through and how much fun we had. And it was just the greatest group of people to bring this to life. And for people to still be talking about this movie is just such a gift, because we didn't know. And in fact, we were really scared, because there was another film with a very similar concept that was announced a few weeks before we started filming. And it was going to be done by Blumhouse with Kevin Bacon.
Yeah.
And we thought, we're screwed. We're so screwed, because they have the money. They've got Kevin Bacon. They have an Oscar-winning screenwriter, for God's sakes. We're so screwed. And so we made the movie. It came out, I think, a few months before their film did. And we kind of thought, oh boy, we're just going to get buried by this film. No one's going to remember us. And this crazy thing happened where their film came out, and people seem to be kind of either on the fence or sort of leaning more towards negative about that film. And all these people came out and said, well, if you want to see this done in a better way with a much lower budget, check out Children of Sin. Yeah. And so all these people saw the film because of their film. And so it became kind of a positive thing, which was super cool.
I think it's called Them and Them or whatever it was.
Yeah, they slash them. Yeah,
I did see that one. Okay, and wasn't going. Oh, I'll just wait because that was part of my review. So you brought up something.
Okay.
Now, if I would have known that you're taking auditions for Hank for this part, I would have definitely did the audition for it because that would be.
Oh well, damn.
I'm 56, so.
Oh, you did perfect. There we go.
So anything you need for a 50-year-old, let me know, and I'll audition for you. I can do it over Skype or whatever. How you want to do it? Now, where are you located at?
Jackson, Mississippi.
I'm in Pennsylvania, so ain't that hard of a trip.
No.
I definitely would be interested. If you ever got something else for a character my age, let me know and I'll audition for you.
Absolutely.
I would love to play that part. I'm a weirdo. I would love that part.
I love a weirdo. In case you didn't notice.
But yeah, definitely keep me in mind because I'll definitely do it.
Sure.
Audition for you. But yeah, this movie. Okay, I better stop. I don't want to give it away. I mean, when you hear my reviews, you understand why because I get into it when I do them. You know, I enjoyed this one. I'll tell you that. I enjoyed this film wholeheartedly. It was better than what I thought it was going to be. Honest to God,
I'm so glad
it was. Now let's talk about the Trash Man. Now, again, I saw this trailer, and the way it was made, it was enough to make you want to see it. That you didn't show a lot, but once again, it had that freaking old school, late 70s, 80s feel of how it was shot. You know, you got this character that was a killer, and then he disappeared, and then he comes back, and he was a trash man and body parts in a trash bag. Mm-hmm. Again, I can't go into too much detail because I got to review this one as well. But honest to God, I'll tell you this: of the movies of yours that I've seen, my favorite is Children of Sin. Now, I'm not saying this movie's bad. I like Children of Sin. I love the way it was made. And your experiences with the Trash Man, talk to me.
It was another pretty chill shoot. I think after Children of Sin, I wanted to make another film with the cast of that film. So I basically wrote parts for everybody to come back because we just had so much fun. And I thought, okay, what could I do? And I thought, okay, well, maybe I'll do like a holiday film, you know? And I thought, well, Thanksgiving's not really done that much. Let's do a Thanksgiving slasher film. And I wanted to do something kind of classic. It was just coming off of the recent Halloween trilogy, and I had some issues with those films. And I thought, okay, well, instead of just going online and whining about, you know, here's what I would have done, why not just make a movie where I can show what I would have done if I had the rights? So basically, it was almost like a kind of a Halloween fan film. It was just like a love letter to that film.
See, and what I just told you earlier just proves it. I love the killer in this. It's like really blandish, coolish, neatest killer. And let's bring it out there. Your aunt from Children of Sin was your mother in here.
Yeah.
And one of the coolest parts, I'll say this about this movie that was really off the wall, fucking weird greatness, is her mother.
Oh God, yeah.
I mean, that was like phenomenal. And then she's agoraphobic. Mm-hmm. She never left her house.
Right.
And then eventually you encouraged her to, you know, to start going out and taking the trash out to the front, right in the driveway. Of course, when she did that that's when trouble started later on in the movie.
Yeah.
But
I definitely picked the worst freaking time to get her back out there, you know.
And then her friend, I thought, the one that was, I guess, sick or whatever, I loved her too. I thought she was amazing. her, and then the daughter was worried about her mom, and then her daughter's out with her friends, and this had a little bit of everything in it. This movie, I'm telling you, the way it was made, as you said, it's a typical old-fashioned 80s horror movie brought to present day. That this movie was good. I liked it, and I'll do my review on it. You knocked it out of the ballpark in the two that I've seen so far. I wasn't upset. I wasn't, oh God, it's not what I thought it was going to be. It was exactly what I thought it was going to be. I love the feel of it. Your character, being working at a bar, restaurant, whatever, and you got a promotion, but you're also dealing with your demons, let alone dealing with your mom's demons. And you did a great job in here as well. I mean, not just the acting, not just the directing part, but the acting part, because you made the character in this movie as well. You tried your best. You got a promotion. You didn't know what to do, either take care of mom or go on your own. I mean, there's a lot in here. There's a lot in this movie that people can really get a taste of. When I do a review, I'll bring it all out in the ballpark for you. But great job on this one as well. I thought it was really your style of filmmaking, your style of thinking, the writing part of it. You do your best with what you have, but you killed it. I mean, for the two that I've seen, these movies don't look like no $20,000 movies or even less or a little more. They look professional, and you should be proud of that.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I mean, it's low budget films can be weird. I think there's still a stigma
there is
where some people, and I know this for a fact, because when you place an ad for one of these movies, trying to get people to watch it, you'll get comments that are like, I turned it off in 5 minutes. It looked so cheap, and I didn't recognize any of the stars. And they look
my God,
normal people. I'm like, they look like normal people. Is that a bad thing? I didn't know every person had to look like a supermodel. Like that's what I was going for. I want people to look normal, like people you would just live down the street from. I think it makes it more realistic, and so there's still people out there who want everything to look like a $500 million Disney production, which just isn't going to happen.
Here we go. Now look, you got me started, and I'm just going to put it out there. Okay, look, people like that are idiots. Okay, they don't know what Redbox is. They don't know what Tubi is. People like that there are stuck in the 90s, early 90s, when the only movies that we've seen are movies that were either in the theater or direct from video. You know what I mean?
Oh, right, yeah.
These movies are back there then as well, but apparently they didn't watch them back then either. You do know that Texas Chainsaw Massacre, when it came out, was a low budget, no budget. They thought it was going to be a piece of junk, and it turned out to be a freaking masterpiece today. I mean, people really got to wake up and smell the coffee or do something, because that never crossed my mind. There's movies that are so bad, Chris, that they put a named person in there and it gets selected by a distributor, but the movie was bad. It's based off of the actors in the movie.
Yeah, I mean,
that's stupid, that comment that person made, because there's named people in some of these movies that are so bad that I don't even talk about it. I don't review it because I don't trash movies. What's the purpose of that? If I don't like it, somebody else will. So I don't bother doing that. It's not my motto. But that's just dumb. I mean, if they would watch two other films of yours, they're going to see the actors from the other movies that they're in. They're going to see the same person, so they're going to know that person. So obviously they have no idea who you are. So fuck them.
Oh,
there we go.
What are you going to do, right? I mean, it's
sorry, I get very passionate about dumb, stupid comments. It drives me insane.
I mean, I think my favorites are usually the ones that are like, where can I watch this? And it's actually, and it says on the ad, now streaming on Amazon or TV. I'm like, what is that? I mean, that's beyond stupidity. I don't know what that is.
God.
That's the strangest thing.
Sorry, I didn't mean to go off on that, but stupidity drives me insane. It does.
It's so goofy. I'm like, what is going on? Like, do y'all know how to tie your shoes? I'm really concerned.
The Sci-Fi Channel, the Silent Pictures. I love these mega shark and stuff. Okay, they always have like one or two named people in those movies.
Oh yeah,
but they're good. But they're not masterpieces by no means. I mean, there are a lot of good ones that have name actors in them. There's a lot of bad ones. I'm sure the actor who did it regrets it. You know what I mean? But it's a paycheck. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But I know your cast members. I mean, sure, Abernathy. I know who she is now.
Yeah.
You know? So, yeah. Anyways, on the tangent stopped. Is there anything else that you have coming up? You do have 3 coming up. Talk to us about it if you can.
Well, one of them is probably called The House of Covered Mirrors. That's a long story. That's never been released. I don't know why that is still on my page. There's actually, I'm probably attached to 2 others that I don't think are going to be made. Yeah, that's not being made anytime soon. I don't think either.
And The New Family.
That same. I don't know. I got attached to those probably, I think, before I even made Blessed Are the Children.
Really?
And they were trying to, crowdfund them and get the funding, but it's been so long now that I think I've aged out of the parts that I was cast in.
Oh, so, yeah.
I'm like, I don't think I'm not going to play a 22-year-old, I don't think, nowadays. So I think if those do come to fruition, I think they'll go with someone else, I would hope. I don't know.
Aged out. That's a good term.
Yeah, I think I'm a little too old for that now. But yeah, I mean, I've got one I'm working on now as a writer-director, and that's really turning out to be interesting. I'm about 3 drafts in now. Hopefully, I'll start to shoot that one earlier next year, and that's kind of a sort of a callback to more of like the sort of Brian De Palma, Hitchcock, Dario Argento kind of style thriller, where it's someone is accused of a murder that they didn't commit, so they have to try to find out who the actual killer is to sort of prove their innocence, and mayhem ensues. It's going to be incredibly fun. It's I don't think I've done anything quite like it before. It's a very sort of classic sort of murder mystery, who done it, why done it kind of thing, and it's shaping up to be really fun.
Is there a 50-year-old in there?
There might just be.
I'm sorry.
We've got characters of all ages, except really, I don't think this one has any teens. This is a very adult-oriented, kind of 30s and up kind of a movie. I think just because I'm at that point now, I'm not really interested in the stories of teens because I'm not a teen anymore. Right, so I'm like, let me tell stories about adults, please.
Oh, may I ask you this: does the killer have a mask?
There will be. It's really more of a. So far, we're kind of thinking more of a kind of a classic sort of, coat and fedora, maybe black gloved kind of thing. Possibly.
Nice.
You don't really get a good look at them, so they're not really a mask per se. Kind of more just sort of shadowy and unseen.
Cool. I'm excited.
It's going to be fun.
Let's see what you can do. We know you can do it. You made 2 good ones back to back that I've seen.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yep. All right. Well, I hope you enjoyed our time.
I sure did.
I'm very adamant on certain things, and I apologize for that. But that's
no need to. No need to at all.
But I do appreciate you coming on, Chris. Fun times. Chris, absolutely. Stay in touch. Talk soon. And we'll meet again. Who knows?
Absolutely. We sure will.
All right. Take care, buddy. We'll see you.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
I still can't believe you've never heard about the Trash Man. Some say that every Thanksgiving, Crispin comes back out, looking for more people to help him complete his family, a family that will stay forever and never leave him. So if you hear him knocking 3 times, don't open the door.
I mean, think of all the stuff you're missing out on just being in here. All you have to think about is making it to the end of your driveway.
I'm just so scared I won't even recognize it out there.
Don't you think he might be out there waiting for you?
Did you hear the news? They found her in a trash bag, Justin. That can't be a coincidence.
You have to remember, Mom, he disappeared.
It was the trash man. He's back.
Is that the reason that your mom doesn't leave the house?
I'd finish that drink if I were you.
He's come back for you, Caroline.
I had a strange dream last night. You were in it. Mr. Blakely and Jenny, they were there.
Shots rang out at a little after 12:30 in the lunchroom of Hamilton High just 1 week ago, and we're still no closer to finding out the motives behind 17-year-old Mitchell Mayer's killing spree that left 4 teachers and 7 students dead and over 10 injured.
Have you seen strange things since that day? Like you're being watched or maybe followed? They're watching me, and they're always staring at me.
Justice will be paid eventually. Oh, there are many forms of justice in this world.
The dream, it was a warning. I wasn't supposed to survive that massacre. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm out of my mind. What if I'm not? What if I'm not?